Hello, everyone, and good Monday morning. I'm Brian Newdorf, one of the forecasters here at the National Weather Service office in Louisville, Kentucky. Wanted to give you an update on the rounds of severe weather expected not only for later on tonight, but then as we go into the day on Tuesday. So let's just jump right in and tell you what has changed and what has been updated. And as we take a look, well, we expect severe thunderstorms again this evening, looking at late Monday into early Tuesday morning. Just some slight changes in the colors, but the bottom line is expected an active evening with strong to severe storms making their way through the area starting later on this evening, maybe as early as 7 o'clock tonight, coming in kind of from the northwest, and then that will be through the whole entire window of about 5 a.m., but all of you aren't going to see it for that entire duration. The greatest threat of severe weather as you go west, as you make your way towards, say, Paducah and the far western Kentucky and get just west of I-65, but don't put your guard down. That threat is still there. It's just going to maybe kind of lessen a little bit each couple miles as you make your way farther on off towards the east as we lose some available fuel. The main threat with this nighttime event is going to be the strong, damaging, gusty winds. But don't sleep on the possibility, although it is a low end, we still have a possibility of some isolated tornadoes that could form. And then on the bottom scale of all of that would be potentially some hail. Here are these probabilities, and as you can see, the Louisville Metro over towards, say, Corydon, Salem, just outside of E-Town, then as you go over to Jasper, you start to get into that 30 to 44 to 45%, or even up to almost 60% of that wind. And again, there's that west of I-65 gradient, and then a little bit lesser probabilities the farther east you go. And then as far as the tornado probabilities, that has been expanded just a little bit, kind of bringing that border, those brown and green, towards the Louisville area. Again, it's on the lower end, but it's still not zero, and it is still a possibility as we make our way into the overnight hours with dealing with these line and clusters of showers and thunderstorms expected later on tonight. Now, thunderstorm arrival time, anywhere between 5 and 8. These are the windows of arrival, starting with the earliest time possible. And as you can see there for our southern Indiana counties, between about 5 and 8 o'clock this evening. And then it's making its way towards the Louisville Metro. That window's, again, anywhere from about 8 to midnight. And then as it continues to work its way on off towards the southeast, you're talking Lexington, E-Town, Frankfort, closer to midnight and 3 a.m., and then into eastern Kentucky in the early morning hours. Again, the one thing we're watching, though, and this could have a lot of this is all kind of connected. They're dominoes, if you will. So we continue to see development taking place in parts of, Illinois, Missouri, and these showers and thunderstorms that are ongoing this morning could, in fact, help maybe kind of bring down the threat just a bit, but that's not a certainty. We're going to watch those closely as we go throughout the day, because what ends up happening is if we can't warm enough throughout the day, it will limit the available fuel for the storms come later on tonight. But as things stand right now, and what you should prepare for is mainly the gusty wind threat, some of those about 70 miles an hour or greater, especially the farther west you go. And again, that risk of tornado is still possible, some spin-ups, but the risk of severe weather will decrease the farther east you go as we go overnight. And again, it is a nighttime type of event, so biggest thing you can do is just be prepared. Start thinking about that now. What do you have to alert you as you're sleeping? Best thing is to have a NOAA weather radio, but if you don't have that, you can have your cell phone. Turn it on. Make sure those wire emergency alerts are enabled, or even tones on whatever weather app, and make sure you kind of check your location so that it knows where you are. Just even log in briefly today and set your location, and you'll be set. And of course, then make sure you have everything you need ready to go in case you need to find your safe spot, like shoes and then a flashlight in case you lose power, and of course having those chargers available. Then we're not done. We got another round coming in for Tuesday evening as a boundary kind of stalls across the area. And again, another round of strong to severe storms. This is looking like Tuesday evening into early Wednesday morning, or to be more specific, that window is about 7 o'clock in the evening to about 4 a.m. Eastern time. This time, this will be greatest threat will be throughout most of Kentucky, and then the higher is as you go farther south, which includes Tompkinsville, Bowling Green. Change from yesterday, the slight and marginal has been pulled, a little bit changed, but again, bottom line, and sometimes when you look at these, the best way to look at these is kind of a fuzzy line. There's some overlap. Tornadoes are low. Wind and hail will be your primary threat with this activity as we go throughout your Tuesday evening. Here are those probabilities, and they're very similar when it comes to both the severe wind and the severe hail outlook, anywhere from like that about 10% range for most of Kentucky. As you go farther south to Bowling Green, it ups to about 15 to 20 to almost 30% as well. So these are just things that we're going to continue to watch. And then on top of that, we do get some much needed moisture in the form of rain. We could be looking at anywhere from 1.5 inches to potentially, in some localized spots, 3 inches of rainfall with these two events. This is a combination of both tonight and then tomorrow. Heavy rainfall, though, if we get a storm that's sits over a spot, some ponding or even minor flash flooding is a concern, but it's on the lower end because of how dry we've been over the past several days. And again, some areas west of I-65 where the strongest and heaviest of all the activity will be could see anywhere from 3.5 to localized maybe up to 4 inches. And just we're going to see some big changes over the next few days. Behind this, going to see some cooler temperatures. But overall, make sure you're prepared. Start thinking ahead. You got a little bit of time here. Don't be surprised if you see a few showers and maybe a rumble of thunder here early today. But again, the main event comes later on this evening. But keep it tuned in to whatever you get your best, wherever you find your weather information, whether it be on your app, local media, or go to weather.gov/Louisville. We will continue to keep you updated as things change. And you can find us both on our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and then, of course, YouTube and on our website. Have yourself a great day and stay safe.